What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Christian J Show, The Crime Chronicles, where we dissect all things true crime. As always, I'm your host, Christian J, and today we're diving into one of the most thrilling cases in American true crime history, the story of Ted Bundy. Now, you may think, oh, he's doing Ted Bundy again. He already did it in season 2. No, this is part 2 to Ted Bundy. If you were here back in, well, this year, season 2 came back off a hiatus, off of Christmas break, January 1st. And I released the story of Ted Bundy on January 1st because we're bringing in the new year. Let's start off with something thrilling. So, that's why I released the story of Ted Bundy. Now, there was a lot of things I did not mention in the first part. And there might be things in here that I probably had mentioned, and I'm just going over it again. If it is like that, oh well, just bear with me. Now, as always, I have my script right here, so I can be accurate. Look here, I could be accurate in a lot of things. One thing I'm going to be accurate in is telling you this story. Now, you probably have heard this story many times, but I'm going to give my own twist and turn on it. Okay. Now, I've broken this thing down to segments, so let's go. Now, the first one, The Escape Artist. It's December of 1977. Bundy is behind bars in Colorado awaiting trial for the murder of Karen Campbell. But that man wasn't just a killer. He was a master manipulator and an escape artist. So while most of the prison staff were away for the holidays, Bundy slipped through the cracks, like literally. He escaped through a hole in the ceiling of his cell, walked out of jail dressed as a deputy, and then vanished into the night. Really? Yeah. And I tell you, this man is crazy. Because why are you leaving during the middle? Why are you dressed as a deputy walking out? Like, sir, is prison really that bad? You can't pay for your crime? And this wasn't just his first escape. Earlier that year, he jumped from a courthouse window during a recess. That time, he was recaptured after 6 days. But this was his second escape, and it would lead up to his final killing spree. Now, before I get into segment 2, let's talk about this. This was his second escape. He escaped that earlier that year, and then he was recaptured 6 days later. What was y'all doing? I mean, I know the man, he had to be quick, swift. Yeah, he was a master manipulator. So, yeah. Now, in January of 1978, Bundy resurfaces to Tallahassee, Florida. He was Florida's nightmare. And this is one of the most brutal chapters of his story. He broke into the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University, and in less than 15 minutes, he attacked 4 women, killing 2, Lisa Levy and Margaret Bowman, with a piece of firewood. The violence was savage, and the aftermath was horrifying. Then, weeks later, Bundy abducted and murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach, Her body was found in a pig shed. It was the final act that sealed his fate. Now, I know I talked about his killings back in part one. And remember, I said he would have intercourse with the dead bodies? Yeah. And then how he raped a woman using a pipe, basically. Basically, it was like a pipe he used on her. This man was diabolical. And it's the fact that he had fans at that now. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he had fans. Woo. Because we all know people love to romanticize criminals. I wonder is that something to do with psychology? Maybe some of y'all need to get checked out because y'all be romanticizing these criminals like crazy. Now the trials were starting. Bundy's Florida trials were a media circus. Child, the man represented himself, cross-examined witnesses, and even proposed to a woman, Carolyn Ann Boone. Really, you represent yourself, cross-examine the witnesses, then propose to a woman. I can't make this up. I can't. I can't make it up, y'all. I just can't. Now, you would think Miss Girl would have said no, but no. She said yes. And they were married during the trial. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. They got married during the trial. So you would think she'll be like, no, you a killer. You murdered these women. You did this. You did all these despicable acts. Why would anybody want to marry you? Except she didn't say that. She said, yes, I will marry you. I love you. Ugh. And despite his theatrics, the evidence was overwhelming. Bite marks, eyewitnesses, and forensic testimony led to convictions in both the Kyle Omega and Kimberly Leach cases. And then he was sentenced to death twice. So he was sentenced to death. I'm sorry, but I'm still on how she got engaged to a murderer. Like, are you okay? Do you need help? Because why would you get engaged to a murderer? But I did say that some of them think was saying that he did not do it. If you remember, if you listen to part one, a lot of his fans mhm, said that he did not kill those women. They said he wasn't a murderer. He was just misunderstood. They even started a fan club about him. They even had signs made up. They were standing outside of the courthouse with the signs waving it like they was at a Beyonce concert or a Taylor Swift concert, yelling woo hoo 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 hoo, or a Chris Brown concert or Benson Boone concert or whoever. They was acting like they was at a concert with signs like woo woo, look over here, look over here. Crazy. And it's the fact that this fan club was made up of women that if y'all wasn't a part of his fan club, I guarantee you he probably would have tried and probably would have succeeded in unaliving them. I'm just saying, I feel like if he didn't have a fan club and the women that was in that fan club, I feel like he would have tried to kill them. I'm just saying. Now, he spent nearly a decade on death row. During that time, he gave interviews, confessed to dozens of murders, and then tried to delay his execution by offering information about unsolved cases. Really, you was trying to stall your little your execution by giving them information on unsolved cases. Really, Ted? Really? But on January 24th, 1989, Ted Bundy was executed in Florida's electric chair. His last meal was steak, eggs, hash browns, and coffee. And his last final words were, I'd like you to give my love to my family and friends. Friends? A murderer got friends these days? I, I mean, I don't see how anybody would want to be friends with a murderer. I don't think anybody would want to be friends with somebody who has killed a person. You're still friends with them. I don't see it. And outside the prison, people cheered. Some held signs that said, Burn, Bundy, burn. Disco Inferno. I'm sorry. And of course, probably some of them cried because Ted was gone. They lost their criminal. They lost the person that they was romanticizing over. That they're never going to get him back. And like I said, he was a charmer. He was a charmer. He smiled. He made you believe that he was helpful. But then he wasn't. The women that he assaulted and killed, they didn't do anything to him. They didn't. They was just trying to live their lives, but no. Of course, somebody with a deranged mind has to come and mess everything up. Now, it was said that he had multiple personalities. This person diagnosed Bundy as a psychopath. Then it is theorized that Ted Bundy had a split personality, and that was in the HBO documentary Crazy Not Insane. It's theorized that Ted Bundy had a split personality. The documentary claims that Ted was sexually and physically abused by his grandfather, and that he was exposed to his collection of violent biography from a very young age. This is you. They use this to. They use this belief to make the claim that Ted developed other personality based on his grandfather to protect himself from trauma. I don't believe that. Then they go on to say some of the evidence comes from the fact that Ted's confessions were in the third person. He referred to his need to kill as the entity. He allegedly signed letters using the name Sam, his grandfather's name, and Ted has no memory of the end of the summer of '69. He's a master manipulator. What are y'all not getting? And if I'm trying to remember back to that episode I did, I think I did say that he studied law or criminal. He studied something dealing with justice system and everything. It was. I think it was psychology. Yeah, I was right. It was psychology. So, a master manipulator, and he studied psychology in college. Graduated from the University of Washington in 1972. What does that tell you? Psychology, master manipulator. He knew how to play with people's minds, and he knew exactly what to say to get people on his side. Hmm. Then he would return to the burial sites to commit necrophilia. Yeah, that man knew what he was doing. Then he said Bundy had to drink to lower his inhibitions so he could commit murders. He remembered his crimes and appeared to be excited when describing them. There was no different split personality in him. There was no split personality in that man. That man knew what he was doing. And then the fact that he escaped from prison, that was his second escape, that he went to Tallahassee, Florida. Florida's nightmare. The fact that he went down there and terrorized Tallahassee, killing these women, and some of these women had families, like mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers. There's no way people are going to recover, their family recover from that. And to be honest, he really didn't have any remorse. And to be honest, to this day, there are some people who still say, well, he really didn't do it, or the women did this. As always, want to blame the woman. Want to blame the woman now. But I guarantee you, if somebody did this to your cousin, your sister, your mother, anybody in your family, you would have their head on your wall. You would have their head on your wall because you would rip their head off and put it up there like a deer. It's the fact that people still say that maybe the women led him on. Oh, really? Seriously? We blaming the women again? Because y'all blame women half the time for every little thing. When are y'all going to take some responsibility? When are you going to start blaming the actual villain of the story? Not the victim. When are you going to actually start blaming the villain of the story, the killer of the story? When are you going to start doing that? Because I'm tired of people always blaming the woman. If a woman gets raped, they're always saying, well, maybe the woman should have dressed like this. Regardless how she was dressed, that does not give a man the right to sexually force himself on her. Even after she has said, stop, get off of me. No. Y'all act like y'all don't hear the word no. Are you illiterate? Can you not hear? Are you deaf? Do you not know the word no? Can you not read the word no? No is everywhere. No is everywhere. It's in books. Can't evidently you're illiterate because you can't read the word no. You're deaf because you can't hear the word no. So evidently something's wrong with you. These women did not ask to get murdered and sexually assaulted by him. They didn't. But no, most of y'all was that act like they asked to get sexually assaulted and murdered by him. Because y'all always gonna find a way to blame a woman. Y'all always gonna find a way to blame the woman. And I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing people always trying to blame the woman for a man's actions. If a man is raping a woman and she has clearly said, get off of me, no, stop doing this, then you should get off her. But a lot of y'all don't know how to take no these days. A lot of y'all don't know how to. If a woman says no, if she don't want to give you her phone number, what you getting mad at her for? You getting mad and buffing up at her. That goes to show you. And that goes to show her. And goes to show everybody else around her. You're unstable. Yeah. You're unstable. Not the woman. And I forgot to tell y'all, the man tried to go Christian. He tried to claim he was a Christian at the very end to get support. he tried to say he was a Christian in the very end to get support. Like, are you crazy? Like, are you actually crazy? Like, how are you sitting up here saying, oh, I'm a Christian, I have turned my life around. Please do not. I have talked with the Lord. Ted. You cuckoo? I believe he is. And like I said, he always referred to himself in the third person to distance himself from the crimes, as many criminals do. He became excited when recalling the things he did, but he was embarrassed by his sexual deviancy. So he would randomly not remember certain things, like having intercourse with the skulls and the dead bodies, like I told y'all. And like I said, what happened back in part one, he would have sex with their dead bodies. He would remember that. He yeah. He would remember, but he would play like, oh, I don't remember that. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Yeah. That man knew what he was doing. And plus, there was zero evidence that his grandfather was sexually abusing anyone. All of that was a rumor. So I don't know. Like I said, that was a rumor. So if he did, he did it. If he didn't, he didn't. All of that is alleged. So we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know. Now, Ted Bundy's story isn't about evil. It's about the failure of the systems, the seduction of charisma, and the importance of listening to survivors. I'm going to say that again. Listening to survivors. His case helped shape FBI's behavioral analysis unit, the BAU. Please don't act like y'all ain't never heard behavioral analysis unit. We all know, everybody has seen Criminal Minds. We know Hodge and them, they're part of the BAU, the Behavioral Analysis Unit. Okay? And how we change how we profile serial killers. But more importantly, it reminds us that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they blend in, they smile, they charm, they laugh in your face. Yeah. Now, that's it for part two of the story of Ted Bundy. Now, I said this in my last episode. Come Saturday, since I am dropping 2 episodes per week, come Saturday, we're still in the deep, dark territory. We will be going over to John Wayne Gacy. And when I tell y'all that is the episode to listen to, that's the episode to listen to. Yeah, that man was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Between him and Ted and Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't know who was the worst. Or Ed Gein, I don't know who was the worst out of those four. All of them was bad. Ridiculous. Now, if this episode moves you, disturbed you, or made you think, share it, rate it, comment on it, talk about it, because the more we understand, the better we protect. I am Christian J, and this is the Crime Chronicles. So, stay safe, stay curious, and stay critical. And tune in next time for another episode of the Crime